उगले सर,
सर बोला ना.
प्लीज share your PPT and I will start.
ओके, ठीक है सर.
So hello. So, dear participants, welcome again to this third session of third day for AICD sponsored 1 week short-term training program on computational intelligence in earthquake resistant design. I call upon my co-coordinator, Dr. Ashish Ugle sir, to welcome the today's guest speaker, and then Professor R.K. Ingre sir will start his presentation. Ugle sir, over to you.
Good afternoon to all. Today also we have with us Dr. R.K. Ingre sir. Yesterday he enlightened us over the topic IS 1893 Part 3 for the bridges. Today he is going to enlighten us on the topic of Indian Standard Code 13920, that is ductile detailing required for the earthquake resistant design. So I heartily welcome Dr. Ingre sir.
Yes, sir. Now PPT is visible, sir.
I can start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Okay, welcome to this particular
sir.
lecture. This is ductile detailing of RCC structures. Okay, generally all the buildings we are supposed to do ductile detailing, not only buildings, bridges and other structures also. Okay, so this code will be applicable for others also, maybe with certain modifications. Okay, now just see, this is one Bachau town which we visited in the Gujarat earthquake. Okay, you can see more than 90% of buildings they have collapsed. Okay, and you will find that none of the building were high-rise building. Okay, most of the times what happens, even code also says sometime, okay, small buildings we can ignore the earthquake. Okay, we have seen failure of only single-story buildings. Okay, just shops single story they have failed. Okay, so my suggestion will be whether it is single story or multi-storied. Okay, we have to apply all the loads, whether it is earthquake or wind, just like our dead load and live load. Okay, we have to apply earthquake also. We don't have to bother nowadays whether it is single story or two-story building, because you can see this was there earlier. Okay, people used to say that even for bridges also, small bridges we ignore. It was all right when we are doing by hand calculation, everything. Okay, now we are using software. Let's say a 10-story building or a 1-story building, we are using SAP 2000 or STAD or anything or other softwares. Okay, so why to stop there? Okay, let us do for all the loadings, because it is only computer which is doing the work. Okay, so we should not say that, okay, for small building, let us ignore this earthquake or ignore the wind for this one. Okay, because both wind and the earthquake, their design philosophy is totally different. We cannot say that, okay, okay, earthquake force is more, so I will not take wind. It is not like that. Okay, see, this is the philosophy of seismic design. When minor earthquake comes, we don't want to see any structural damage. We don't want to see any collapse. We don't want to see any non-structural damage. Okay, when it is a minor earthquake. Okay, when it is a moderate earthquake, there will be some structural damage. There will be some non-structural damage also, but everything will be repairable. Okay, and when it is a strong, there will be a lot of structural damage, lot of non-structural damage. Okay, but cost of repair will be too high. It may happen that we may have to pull down the building and construct a new one. That will be more economical solution. Okay, okay. So this is the philosophy which we design our buildings. Okay, now you can see here our whatever our elastic force is there, earthquake force, we are reducing that force by R value. Okay. And R value is how much? See what happens, whatever we take Z by 2. Okay. See Z by 2. Okay. So that by 2, again we multiplied by I by R. So 2 into R value, which is given in code. If we take multi-story building, R will be 5. So we are designing our structure for almost, just I will take the pointer. Okay. See, this R value, we are taking almost 1 by 10. Okay. So basically, if it is a general structure with importance factor 1, we are designing our buildings, our structures for 1/10 of earthquake force, which will come on the structure. Okay. Now, not complete, because it is impossible to design, okay, for full 100% load earthquake force. Okay. See, this is the basically load path. When it is a static load, it will be something like this. When it is earthquake force, it will be something like this. You can see the problem here. See, here what happens in case of static load, you will find there will be tension at the top, at the support, okay, and at the bottom, in the center at the bottom, tension will be there. Now you can see here, there is a possibility that there will be tension on at this particular top and other side bottom. See here top and other side bottom, there will be tension, and reverse will be the case when sway is on other side. Okay. So it may happen that even it happens. See, can you imagine normally what happens? If you take a beam like this beam, we get more steel at the bottom and more steel at the support at the top. But you will observe in case of zone 4 and 5 structures, means those structures in zone 4 and 5, even this bottom steel in the beam will be much high compared to the central span steel. Okay. Okay. So all the things we have to keep in mind here, okay, while placing the reinforcement. Okay. Now, this code is applicable to all structures in zone 3 and 4 and 5. Okay. So there is no, it is mandatory. Okay. This application of this course in zone 3, 4, 5, no questions to be asked. But in zone 2 structures, designer is having choice. He can either adopt this code, it is for detailing, okay, or go for a IS 456 detailing, okay. But if we adopt this particular code, we are reducing our earthquake forces by almost 2/3, okay, as compared to not adopting this, because our R value, by adopting this code, our R value will be 5, and by not adopting this, our R value will be 3. Okay, so there will be an increase in earthquake forces if we are not adopting this particular code. Okay, and many times what happens, suppose we ignore this particular code and take R is equal to 3, you will find that your main steel is much high. Okay, even compared to taking this particular code into account and going for R is equal to 5. We have seen, okay, I have seen many structures, it becomes economical even zone 2, okay, by considering the IS 13920. Okay, so only the person who doesn't know much about this economy, okay, will ignore this particular course in zone 2 and go for enhance additional earthquake forces, okay, making structure uneconomical. Okay. See, it is a wrong concept to say that earthquake detailing increases the reinforcement or the cost. On the other side, it reduces the cost. Okay. See, this is a minimum requirement as given by code. Minimum grade of concrete M25. Of course, IS 456 also we have to consider, and IS 456. If we go for the moderate and above exposure condition, we need minimum grade of concrete M25. Okay. Then Fe415 steel is more preferred because it is having more ductility or elongation. See, more the elongation means more the ductility. Okay. Fe 500 and 550 steel also can be adopted provided the elongation is more than 14.5%. Okay. See, this is the stress, and you can see the elongation also. If we use the Fe250 steel, mild steel, it is having elongation more than around 35 to 40%, as against Fe415 and 500, where it is 15 to 20%. Okay. You can see what happens. Okay. See, this is simple problem. Okay. You can see these are the columns. Okay. And parapet wall is constructed in between that without any gap. See what happens, even this parapet wall also, it acts as a strut. It acts as a strut, and it will make this particular column as a short column as compared to interior column. Now, short columns take more shear. Okay. It takes more shear, and that's why this particular problem is there. You can see here. Okay. So we have to be very careful about this. Even staircase and plinth beam, they also contribute to the steepness. Okay. Irregularities, we have to be very careful about these irregularities. See, IS 1893, it has given part 1 suggests some irregularities. Okay. If it is a regular building, we can go for Codal coefficient method, simple pseudostatic analysis. But if there are irregularities present in the structure, then we have to go for detailed analysis. Okay, that is response spectrum analysis, and sometimes we may have to go for non-linear analysis, that is push-pull analysis. Okay, in case of irregular structures. Now, this code gives detailing for flexure member, that is a beam member. It gives detailing for compression member. Okay, and it gives detailing for shear wall. Okay, we'll try to see one by one. Okay. See, when to design it as a beam, when axial force is there, but stress is not exceeding 0.08 FCK, then we can design that particular member as a beam member. See, it may happen that at the multi-story building, okay, roof column may act as a beam because it will have axial stress, factor axial stress less than 0.08 FCK. Okay, we have to be careful there. Okay. See, these are the limits. Okay, M20 grade concrete, it is 1.6 Newton per mm square, M25 it is 2, and so on. Okay. See, this is a restriction on size. Our B by D ratio for beams shall be more than 0.3. That means if our width is 300 mm, okay, then we cannot have depth of the beam more than 1000 mm. Okay, like that. And again, our width of beam should be sufficient. Okay, so that if we are placing the reinforcement in one layer, okay, by placing the reinforcement in one layer also, we should have sufficient space to put our needle vibrator inside and do the compaction properly. If otherwise, what happens? We can provide steel in 2 layers. Okay, 2 layers. Okay, some code they allow steel to be provided at outside also. Some codes. Okay, but not IS 456. But there is again limit for this. Okay, it cannot be more than 25%. Normally we prefer these two. Okay, first two. Okay, not the third one where we are putting outside. Minimum width of member shall be 200 mm. Okay, and depth shall not be more than 1/4 of the clear span. Okay, we can have even width of beam little bit more than column width. Okay, but you can see there. Okay, you can see here we have to have reinforcement, these stirrups properly made at this particular point. Okay, just 1 sec, I'm having some problem with my mouse. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you can see here we have to be very careful about this one. Okay, we have to have a separate link for that particular part which is outside the column. Okay, the main reinforcement, this is a P minimum which is suggested. Okay, which is 0.24 root FCK divided by Fy. So if we are using M25 grade concrete, our minimum steel, it should be 0.29% if it is a Fe415 steel, and 0.24% if it is Fe500 steel. Okay, as we go up, okay, our minimum steel also increases. Maximum steel at any point should be limited to 2.5%. Okay, now we can see here. See, this thing is reversible. You can see with respect to this example. See, this is a dead load moment because of dead load and live load, and this is moment because of earthquake forces. You can see when we do plus minus, even sometime what happens, there will be tension at the bottom here. Okay, here it is not visible, but it will be there. Okay, so we have to be very careful about this one. Okay. IS 456 suggests moment redistribution that is not allowed with this particular code. Okay. Now, anchorage. See what happened. We have to be very careful here about the anchorage. Okay. See, this is a tensile LDT, which is calculated here. Okay, you can see for top, it is a 20 dia bar. Okay. So we can calculate with this 47.5. Okay, it is for M20 grade concrete and Fe415 steel. So it is 47.5 plus 10 times diameter minus 8 times phi, which is reduction for the bent. Okay, so we should have this particular distance as 980 mm. Similarly below, it should be 784 mm because it is 16 mm diameter of bar. Okay, so we should have proper anchorage here for tensile reinforcement. We have to provide laps also sometime. Okay, but wherever there are laps, we have to see that our spacing of link is not more than 150 mm. Okay, and our lap should not be within the joint. It should not be within the distance of 2D from the face, where D is effective depth of the beam. Okay, or within the quarter length of the member. Okay, and not more than 50% of steel, either top or bottom, should be spliced at any sections. Okay, we can provide mechanical couplers also. Okay, sometimes we can go for welding of splices also. These are the two different types of links which we can provide. This is one type and this is also second type. Okay, now we have to make sure that this particular link is having some horizontal part like this, which is 8 times diameter or 75 mm minimum. Okay, see, there is a reason why we have to take this inside. See, earlier IS 456, I have visited many sites, they provide links like this. See, in case of seismic analysis, okay, especially seismic load, such type of links are of no use. Okay, we have to provide links like this inside the column so that they will not get opened when earthquake force comes. And then links, we have to calculate the spacing of links based on these two formulations of shear force. One is factored shear force as per analysis, whatever we get from analysis, and second is shear force due to formation of plastic hinge at both the ends of the beam, plus some factor vertical gravity loads. You can see this is a factored gravity shear, and you can see here we are calculating like this. Okay. Now, what is this MU limiting means? What you take actual reinforcement here, which we are providing, calculate the moment of resistance of this particular beam there. Okay. Now here what happens? We are calculating sagging moment, hogging moment of resistance here, because we are taking tension reinforcement here. Here again we are calculating, see at one place we are calculating hogging moment capacity, at other end see here we are taking sagging capacity here, and here hogging capacity. Okay. Now this is when we select, see normally what happens when we do design, we get the reinforcement. Let's say it is 1000 mm square. Then we say that, okay, 1000 mm square means provide for 20 dia bar. So normally what happens, we provide little bit more steel than what we calculate. Okay. So we have to take here that exact steel 4 of 20 dia bar to calculate the moment of resistance. Okay. Now, once we do that, we from this particular expression, okay, we calculate additional shear. Okay. And for this particular shear, we have to design this particular shear, or as per first factor shear from the analysis, we have to take maximum, and for that maximum shear, we have to design the stirrups. Now here you can see this 1.4 factor. Why this 1.4 factor has come? See what happened? We take partial safety factor of 1.15. Okay, for steel, 1.15. Okay. Now that 1.15 multiplied by, we say that, okay, our yield stress will be 25% more. Okay. So 1.25 into 1.15, it comes quite close to 1.4. Okay. That's why this 1.4 factor has come. Okay. Now you can see example here. See what happened. I have calculated here. Okay. I think I will go for this example. Yes, you can see. See, this is shear force diagram because of dead load. This is shear force diagram because of live load. And this is the shear force as per those expression, that 1.4 times hogging capacity of beam at one end, sagging capacity of beam at other end divided by span. Okay. It is comes 193. So you can see here 267 and 267 is total shear which come at the end, and at the center part is 193. Okay. So I had to make sure that my shear capacity, okay, this is more than this whatever shear I'm getting with these expressions. Okay. Then contribution of bent up bar is not is ignored here, or not ignored, because it will act only in one direction, but shear you get in both the direction. Okay. So it is not considered. Okay. This is the basically the shaking of the frame. Okay. That's why we need steel here. And as I have mentioned, okay, we need little bit more steel here when it is a zone 4 and zone 5. Okay. This is the reinforcement shown. You can see how it is shown inside here. Okay. Now that spacing of link, though we are calculating using either factored shear force or shear force calculated by assuming both end has plastic hinge, okay, for the beam. Whatever we calculate, it should not exceed d by 4, where d is effective depth of beam, okay, or it should not be more than 8 times the smallest longitudinal bar, or it should not be more than 100 mm. Okay. it should not exceed 100 mm. And elsewhere, its spacing should not be less than effective depth by 2. Okay, that means let us imagine, suppose beam is 230 by 230, 200 is effective depth. Okay, so everywhere our depth, this spacing will not be more than 100 mm. Okay, see, this is the detailing which is shown. Okay, you can see, as I have mentioned, okay, this is central steel, it is only 316, but at support we need more. Okay, because you can see what we have to provide. See, apart from the analysis, whatever top steel we are providing, bottom steel has to be 50% of that. Okay, we have to mention that, we have to make sure that it is 50% of that, or whatever we get from design. So this is a beam detailing with IS 3920. Okay, you can see this is with respect to, this is another example, same beam, but with IS 456. Okay, now you can see here. See here, we are just try to see here how much reinforcement is required here at the top, 316 plus 520 dia bar. Okay, plus IS 456, because here what happens, R factor will be 3. Okay, so you can see 216 dia bar and 625 mm dia bar. Much more steel is required in ignoring this particular code, okay, as compared to considering this. Okay, you can see here. Okay, this is this example is for zone 3. Okay, if we calculate zone 3 with IS 13920, if you calculate it, steel is 150 kg for one span of beam, and here with our IS 456 it is 188 kg, 25% more. Okay, so these are the salient features for beam. Okay, B by D ratio has to be more than 0.3. Width cannot be less than 200 mm. Okay, minimum steel 0.24 FCK by root FCK by Fy. Okay, at the joint, positive steel has to be 50% of negative reinforcement. Okay, see, some of the other code, foreign code, what they say, instead of 50% steel, they say that your moment of resistance has to be minimum 50%. Okay, but our IS, it is more simple, because there you have to design it again. Okay, here you just do design for top and make sure that 50% bottom steel is provided. Okay, now let us go to column. Okay, see, you can see this is the column reinforcement. You can see the stirrups. Okay, how they should go inside. Okay, with 135 degrees bend. Okay, now this requirement, this is a column, we have to design this as a column as soon as our factored axial stress is more than 0.08 FCK. Okay, there, similar to beam, there is a restriction to width to depth ratio. Okay, you can see it is a 0.4. Okay, so if it is a 300 mm column, we cannot provide other dimension more than 750. Okay, if it is a 401 dimension, other dimension is restricted to 1000 mm. Okay, plus there is one more restriction now, it has come. Okay, see, minimum column size has to be 300 mm. It is history now that 230 mm column. Okay, so minimum column dimension has to be 300 mm or 20 times diameter of beam bar, whichever is larger. Okay, suppose we are providing in the beam diameter of beam reinforcement is 20 mm, then minimum column size has to be 20 into 20, that is 400 mm. You cannot even provide 300 mm. Okay, so we have to make sure that we are restricting our column dimension as well as minimum dimension has to be as per this 300 mm or 20 times the beam diameter bar. Okay, now what to do, suppose beam width to depth ratio is less than 0.4, we have to design it as a shear wall. Okay, See, there are certain additional checks also which are coming up now in IS this 13920. Okay. See what happened with these checks and other things. Now the job of structure designer is increasing. Okay. All our calculations, they are getting doubled. Though there will be economy in the structure, but the structure designer's work is almost increasing by 33%. Okay. Because you can see at each joint in both the direction, we have to make sure that strength of column, summation of strength of column at that particular joint is more than 1.4 times strength of beam at that particular joint, okay, in that plane, okay. So we have to make sure that we are having these particular checks properly executed, okay. We can have interior joint, we can have exterior joints like this, okay. You can see this is MC by MB ratio. Moment of resistance of column, moment of resistance of beam. That ratio has to be more than 1.4. Okay. We cannot provide very small column sizes because of this. Okay. Okay. Then again, lap length. Okay. It is similar to the beams. Okay. We should not provide laps within the 2 times d distance. D is the dimension of the larger dimension of the column. Okay. Within that particular zone. Okay. And our hoop has to be 100 mm center to center for that particular lap length. Okay. Not more than 50% of bar we should splice at one point. Okay. Transverse reinforcement. Okay. Minimum diameter is 8 mm for links. If diameter of bar is less than 32 mm, otherwise we have to go for 300. Okay. Cross ties we have to provide if our dimension is more than 300 mm. You can see here. Okay. Hoop spacing, again, it should be less than 1/2 of the least lateral dimension. Okay. So our dimension is suppose 300. We cannot have spacing more than 150 mm. Okay. You can see here, these are the typical links shown here. Okay. We can have many forms here. You can see what happens. Suppose we are not providing the transverse links properly. Okay. You can see this is a building. Okay. I still remember when we visited this particular building. Okay. This is near Bachao, Bhuj town. Okay. See, this was G plus 3-story building. Okay. And it was ready for possession. Okay. Now you can see all the joints. It has failed like this. All the joints. Now you can see there is enough reinforcement. If we see vertical reinforcement, there is enough reinforcement. Okay. But links, you can see the link spacing is almost 300 mm center to center. Designer has ignored IS 13920. Okay. So if you are ignoring the IS 13920, there is no guarantee that your structure will withstand the earthquake. Okay. You can see other part here. Even that joint we have to design for shear also, and how to calculate that shear is given here. Okay. See, there is a reason why we should have closely spaced link here, because we are decreasing the buckling length. Okay. So we are not allowing our column reinforcement to buckle, and it should take full strength. Okay. So that's why spacing should not be more than 1/4 of minimum dimension of the member, 100 mm, and 8 times the diameter of smallest longitudinal steel. Okay. See, this is what happened. Suppose you can see the bottom one. Suppose there is an unconfined concrete. You can see here stress strain curve. Okay, it will be non-ductile. But if you do confinement with links, rectangular links, you can see it is like this. But if you do with spiral links, in case of circular column, our ductility increases much high. Okay. These are the formulas given to calculate the links and its spacing. Okay. This is example. You can see this is example. This is circular column. Let's say diameter is 300 mm. Okay. If you do these calculations, we need the confining links 8 mm diameter and 75 mm center to center. Okay. Now this is with for rectangular column. Okay. Now you can see, suppose the rectangular column is there 230 by 300, which is very common in many small story buildings. Okay. You can see what code says. It should not be less than 100 mm also. So, okay. But not less than 75 mm. Okay. It can be 1/4 of diameter of column or 100 mm, or it should not be less than 75 mm. Okay. Suppose we do the calculation. Okay. See what happened. We need 12 mm diameter of bar link at 75 mm center to center. See, those some designers which are not aware of this particular code, they will get shocked. Okay. Because for whole lifetime, they might have provided only 12 dia bar in the column and 6 dia as a link. But you can see here, we need even links of 12 dia bar, that to 75 mm center to center. Okay. So we have to be very careful. That's why we have to increase the column size. More the column size, our link spacing and link diameter also reduces. See, this is a part where we have to provide confining links. Okay, near the joints, L0 distance. Okay, even that confining links should start right from the foundation bottom. Okay, you can see here. Okay, now foundation also, nowadays many people, they are providing pad type of foundation, rectangular foundation like that, not sloping, because here it is very difficult to compact the concrete in sloping. Okay, see here, if our thickness is more than 750 mm, it is better to provide additional layer of steel at top also. Okay, see, whenever there is a mezzanine column, okay, most of the buildings now we are having mezzanine floor. Okay, for parking, we must provide the confining links throughout that parking floor. Okay, or where there is a mezzanine floor like this. Okay, we have to provide confining links throughout. Okay, see, these are the checks for shear check. Okay, I will not go into detail of that. It is there already in IS 3920. Okay, so we have to calculate the check. So all the joints now we have to check for flexure check also, as well as we have to check for shear also. Okay, so these are the calculations for that. Okay, see, these calculations, if you refer, it is already available. Solved examples are already available on IS 3920. Okay, which VNIT and IIT Kanpur as well as IIT Gandhinagar. Okay, we have done it and it is already there on the web. Okay, you can just check those solved examples. So whenever there is columns, we have to make sure that our dimension is more than 300 mm or 20 times diameter of largest diameter of bar in beam. B by D ratio is restricted to 0.4. Okay, confining this steel L0 distance is given here. It is a larger lateral dimension of column, or clear height by 6 or 450 mm minimum. Spacing should be 100 mm. Okay, where we are splicing the reinforcement. Okay, these are the few sketches which are shown here. Okay, you can see some sketches are shown here. Okay, how good detailing is done. Okay, you can see the links here and there. Okay, now we start with shear wall. Okay, after this, then we'll go for question and answer. Okay, or we can have little bit here. Okay, let us go for question and answer here. Okay. If anybody wants to ask any question, you can put in chat box.
Yes, sir.
Then I will go for shear wall. So on beams as well as flexure member, that is beam as well as column.
So ductile detailing is very much important, and I should request to all the participants that please ask few questions in the chat box, and then we will proceed for the further part of the presentation.
Okay, no question, then I will start. Okay. We'll
We
have
wait
another
for
session
a minute.
also. Yeah, I think
Yes.
somebody.
Can
Can
we
we
place?
place steel plate in shear wall? Okay, I think let me complete shear wall. Okay. Then we'll have discussion on this.
Yeah, regarding the beam column joint, and that what the point topic sir has covered. On that, if anybody is having doubt, you can ask your question. It is very much important point for designers and for general designing purpose
What
also.
is mean by outrigger system? See what happens in case of multi-story building. Some beams are there made rigid. Okay. See, it is basically the form of multi-story building where we get this outriggers. Okay. Of course, it is not for this particular IS 13920. Okay. I think it is general question. Okay. Okay, you can just put in chat box.
Yes,
After
sir.
my completion of this shear wall, I will again go back to chat box.
Yes,
You
sir.
can see this is shear wall. See shear wall, what happens when we take this one, okay, moment and shear, okay. Moment, what happens, it gets transferred as a up and down forces here, okay. See, it is like that. Up force on one side and down force on other side, okay. So on one side there will be tension, on the other side there will be compression. So that's why these boundary elements are very important, because most of these particular force will be taken by this boundary element. And inside we can have minimum steel required for shear. Okay. Now the thickness, minimum thickness is around 150 mm. Okay. But if it is a coupled shear wall, it is a minimum thickness is 300 mm. Aspect ratio, minimum ratio of length of wall to its thickness shall be 4. Okay. And type of walls, it gives 3 types of wall: squat type, intermediate type, and long wall. Okay. So squat type means where height by length ratio is less than 1. Okay. And height by length ratio is more than 2 is a long wall, and it is intermediate. See, reinforcement required in both the faces, vertically and horizontally. Okay. From shear stress criteria you have to calculate, and wall thickness also we have to keep. See, if shear stress is more than 0.25 FCK, then we have to provide reinforcement on both the faces. Or shear wall thickness is more than or equal to 200 mm, we have to provide both sides. If somebody has provided, let's say 160 mm as a shear wall, which is required for 2 hours fire rating also, in that case, he has got liberty to provide the steel at the center. Okay. The diameter of bar shall not exceed 1/10 thickness of bar. Okay. And the spacing, length of wall by 5, 3 times thickness of wall, and 450 mm. Okay. Now, minimum steel is again given for 3 types of wall: squat wall, intermediate wall, and slender wall. Okay. So these are the minimum reinforcement which we have to provide, at least minimum. Okay. Since shear wall, lot of shear will be there, we have to make sure that this shear wall, our shear stress is within limit. Okay. And horizontal force shear reinforcement also we can calculate. Sometime it will be more than the minimum, so we have to provide this one as per design. See what happened. Even we are not going for boundary elements, we have to provide minimum 4 bars at the boundary. You can see here. at the boundary, minimum 4 bars of 12 dia we have to provide. Okay. Otherwise, what happens? There is criteria where we have to calculate the stress at that point. If that stress exceeds certain limit, we have to provide the boundary element. We don't have choice. But if that stress is less than that limiting stress, then also we have to provide a 412 dia bar. Okay. You can see the boundary element. See, much of the steel is required, okay, along the boundary elements. Okay, you can see here vertically and here vertically, because earthquake can come in both the direction. Okay, so here it is in compression, here it is tension. When it is on this side, it will be in tension, this will be in compression. Okay, and in between part, it is just like eye girder. You can see eye girder, our flanges are quite thick as compared to wave. It is shear wall is just like that eye girder. Okay, you can see this is a boundary element. Okay, now when we have to provide boundary element, when extreme compressive fiber stress is more than 0.2 FCK. Okay, how to calculate that? Vertical load divided by area plus moment divided by Z. Okay, we get extreme compressive fiber stress. If it is exceeding 0.2 FCK, we have to provide boundary element, and we can discontinue boundary element and go for only 412 dia bar when extreme compressive fiber stress is less than 0.15 FCK. Okay. You can see these are the certain specifications for boundary element. Still, we cannot have less than 0.8%. Okay, and it should be less than 0.4%. Okay, you can see these are the examples of boundary elements. You can see this is when we can provide enhanced part of boundary element. When we cannot provide enhancer part, okay, our boundary element width we want to keep same as a shear wall, then this is second option. Okay, see, you can see these are other things. Okay, you can see first one, when we can provide on one side, okay, boundary element, this is on both the sides we can have projections. This is also on both the side projections. This is on only one side projections. Okay, you can see the reinforcement. Okay, see, these are the good examples of reinforcement, how we should place. You can see this type of L column also. You can see boundary element is there here as well as here, as well as at the center also, because this will behave like this way and this will behave like vertical direction. Okay, so we should have boundary element for both together. You can see the reinforcement in this. Okay, then we can have certain gravity columns also, but design of this gravity column is something different. Okay, we have to design this gravity column for R times the lateral displacement. See, suppose what happens, our R is 5 and column, that is gravity column, and that top, our deflection we are getting as a 15 mm. So 15 into 5, so our 75 mm deflection at the top. Okay, we have to add that additional moment in the gravity column and we have to design for that. Okay, so design of gravity column, we can say that, okay, suppose there are 8 columns, we can say only 4 columns are taking a lateral force. We designed it properly, we provide confining reinforcement, other things. Other 4 columns can be gravity columns, okay, which we have to design as per this clause. Okay, then load combination with seismic forces. Okay, you can see here, see, this is when, this is what is given by code. See, code doesn't elaborate many times. Okay, now this 1.5 itself, you can see, suppose there is only single component. Okay, we have to take with earthquake almost 6 additional load combinations. Okay, if it is only single component. If it is a 2 component, you can see with earthquake our load combination increased by 24. Okay, and if you go for 3 components, okay, with earthquake, only for earthquake, we have to take almost 72 load combination additional. Okay, so one is with dead load, live load, that is 1.5 times dead load, 1.5 times live load, then 72 load combinations because of earthquake, then whatever is combinations are there with wind. Okay, we have to design our members for so many load combinations. Okay, then again, I'm complicating the things now. We'll have torsion also. Okay, because of this torsion, now torsion also could give two limits. One is positive torsion, eccentricity, and eccentricity negative also. Okay, so if we take one direction or x direction, we'll have two torsional eccentricities. Y direction will have two direction eccentricities. Okay, so our all load combination, that 70 load combination, 72, will get multiplied by 4 if we take torsional eccentricity also into account. Okay, so you can see how many load combinations are there. Okay, see, our load combination will get reduced to 50% if we go for response spectrum analysis, because in the response spectrum analysis, automatically plus minus sign is taken care. Okay, now these are the tutorials. Okay, let us see this one. Okay, you can see now what are the problems. Suppose this is zone 3 structure. Okay, it comes to you. Okay, can we decide, okay, that this particular column size is not proper, this particular beam size is not okay. Okay, now you can see here. See, B by D ratio of beam is violated here. Okay, even B by D ratio for column is also violated. Even that minimum size of column 300 mm, that is also violated. Okay, so we can change it. Okay, you can see here now. So 300 is minimum width of column. Okay, beam also 230 has gone into 3. It is now 300 by 1000 and so on. Okay, so if somebody gives you some sizes, you should be able to modify it for IS 13920. Now you can see here. Okay, here what is the problem? You can see at this particular center here, how much steel we have provided? 216 dia bar, that is 400 mm square, plus 6 of 20 dia bar. So this is almost 2000 plus, means almost 2400 mm square steel we have provided at the top. What code says? We should have at least minimum 50% of steel. So almost 1200 mm square steel we should have provided at the bottom. How much we have provided? 216 and 216, 800 mm square. Okay, so we have to modify this bottom steel. Okay, because this steel might have come from design, but you have to overrule the design and provide at least 50% of steel at the bottom also. You can see now it is done. You can see now it is 316 dia bar, 316 dia bar added at this particular point. Okay, so this is how you can do the things. Okay, this is another example. Okay, this is for column. Okay, now you can see 12 of 32 dia bar and 500 mm no cross links, and this percentage steel also is much more than 0.84%. Okay, bottom. Okay, links are 6 dia. Okay, then cross links are not provided. This is more than 300 mm. Okay, and so on. You can see based on that. Okay, these are the recommendations. Size needs revision. Distance between ties more than 300 mm. Spacing of links cannot be more than 300 by 2 and so on. Okay, same thing is with this also column. Okay, okay. Always we have to remember prevention is better than cure. Okay, now let us come to our chat box. Okay, we'll just add one more things here. Yes, I am coming to chat box now. Yes, now any, okay, I will just go through this. See, somebody has said steel plate. See what happens, as we have seen, we need more steel at the boundary elements. Suppose we place steel plate in the concrete. Yes, we can have a steel plate as a shear wall. Okay, but that also we have to do with proper thing. It should not buckle. Okay, but suppose you are saying that steel plate can be placed in the concrete shear wall. Okay, see what happens. It is just like a web. Increasing web thickness is of no use. Okay, but if you provide a more flange, it will be more better. Okay, so you can just have that particular analogy and think yourself whether steel plate will be all right or not. Okay, what is the meaning of outrigger? Okay, this see, shear wall is different, and outrigger. See, outrigger is, if you refer the book on multi-story building by Smith, okay, Taranath and other things, they give a lot of information on these multi-story buildings. Basically, this outrigger comes for that multi-story building when our number of stories are more than 25 or so. Okay, it is just like a rigid beam in between. Let's say after the 10 story or 8 story, we are providing rigid beams. What is it mean to have ductile building? Means what? If you are providing reinforcement as per IS 13920, we call it as a ductile building. Okay, we are not increasing the reinforcement as compared to IS 456. It is a wrong concept. Those who don't want to do lot many calculation of IS 13920, okay, they will resort to such type of excuses. Okay, we have done a lot of work on in this. Okay, our steel get reduced. Okay, it will never increase as compared to IS 456. Okay, it can be same if it is zone 2 structure, small structure, but it cannot be more in case of ductile detailing. Okay. Another question. How different is design of shear wall with opening? Yes, I have not taken that here. Okay. But there what happens, see, opening means what? You have to make sure that at the opening you are providing more steel. Okay. Because just I wanted to restrict for 1 hour here. So that's why I have not taken that one. Okay. Any more question? In case of precast concrete beam column and shear wall, see what happened. Even in precast also, see, ductility will be there because we have to make sure that joints are ductile enough.
Yes.
Most of the times what happens, columns and beam, they are cast, they are joined together with in situ concrete. Okay. Now after joining of that, see, when earthquake comes, it doesn't recognize whether our structure was precast or it is in situ casted. Okay, it will shake both the buildings same equally. Okay, so whether it's a precast or in situ construction, okay, IS 13920 is applicable.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any more question?
So
Okay.
I think, yeah, questions.
Yeah, I think now we can stop here then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Huh?
So
Yes.
thank you, sir, for nice presentation and
Yes.
in-depth detailing for ductile detailing for reinforcement. So I thanks to all the participants also
Yes.
for being with us and patience listening. To, yes, sir.
Okay, okay then.
So
Thank you. I'm just coming
we'll
out of
stop
this
here
now.
for this session again, and then in the next session we will meet again at 2:30. So till then, if some participant having question, you can type in the chat box, or then we will end the today's meeting.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So thank you, participant. We will meet again at 2:30. with the next hands-on on ETAP software by another speaker.
Thank you, sir.